Good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am very happy and honored to present to you my paper with the title Attitude Towards Philippine English, a case of Al-kwarizmi International School English teachers. I am Roselain Dimangadap-Malang and I am very honored to present my paper in Asia E-Conference on Business Education, Social Sciences and Technology 2021. English language is definitely a very prestigious language. It is a language considered very powerful. Ethnologue mentions that it is spoken by people in 99 countries by 414 million speakers. Because of this number of countries and speakers, it is understood that there would be variations with accent and or pronunciation. As mentioned by Stevens and Mahbub and Dutcher, most of these people do not speak standard English on a regular basis. In their everyday life, they use dialects and varieties that reflect their backgrounds and lifestyle choices. Thus, to some degree, while these people speak English, the English that they use is not the same. This variation in English is considered by language authorities, thus, the birth of the world Englishes. This concept has become a popular concept today. The term was introduced by Indian sociologist Braj Kachur in 1980s. According to him, we can no longer simply view English as a worldwide lingua franca. Rather, as many non-native varieties of English became standard. Mahbub remarked that English is not the property of native speakers from the so-called inner circle countries, but is deployed by its users around the world to reflect and incorporate local philosophies, idioms, and culture. Today, English variation is called Philippine English by some, while Filipino English by others. Today, a certain Philippine English, as formally called based on the World English's framework of renowned linguist Braj Kachru, is a recognized variety of English with its distinct lexical, phonological, and grammatical features. The Philippine English as a standard English language has been debated over the years. There are a lot of researchers and authorities who commented on its system, but there are also others who think of it as an inferior variety of English and therefore is unfit to be accorded the term standard system. In this study, I investigated the attitude of the English teachers of the Al-kwarizmi International School on Philippine English. Particularly, it was conducted to seek answers to the following research problems. First is what is the general attitude of English teachers toward Philippine English? Second, and what is the attitude of the English teachers towards Felipinism? This research uses the quantitative descriptive research design to identify the attitude of the respondents towards the Philippine English. A questionnaire was adapted and answers were tallied, described, and analyzed. The respondents are 19 English teachers of Al-Kwarizmi International School in Marawi City. These teachers are faculty serving in the different colleges of the university. For the instrument, the data gathered mainly is mainly acquired through a 41-item, 3-part, 5-point Likert scale questionnaire adapted from Bautista. The first part contains positive statements about the Philippine English, the second part contains negative statements about the Philippine English, and the third part contains Philippine English lexical words or items and phrasal constructions, which is Felipinism. And for the statistical treatment of the data, so basically I use the standard deviation, and in order for me to determine the perception of the respondents about the Philippine English and some Filipinism words, the answers were tallied and given their equivalent percentage. For the first problem, we try to answer what is the general attitude of the English towards the Philippine English. So in the first table, it shows that the respondents strongly agree to the given statement. Teachers believe that it is normal that there would be regional differences in pronunciation and vocabulary in Philippine English as compared to the standard American English. As Trivens and Mahbub and Dutcher mentioned last 2014, that most of these people in other countries do not speak standard English on a regular basis. So in this everyday life, we use dialects and varieties that reflects our background and lifestyle choices. Thus, to some degree, while these people speak English, the Englishes that they speak is not the same. So the table 2 shows the result of their answer when they were asked if using words from our own culture, is a necessity in developing Philippine English. And as you can see in the result, the respondents still somehow show positive attitude. 14 respondents agree on the statement. So this means that most of the respondents believe that for the Philippine English to develop, the Filipinos have to use words true of the Philippine English and the Filipino culture, the realities about the Filipino and Philippine culture. So as pointed out by Constantino in 1982, American English led Filipinos into a strange new world where they started learning languages and new way of life and became alien to their own traditions. Therefore, the English should be nativized so that it becomes a part of the Filipino culture, not separate borrowed variety from the Americans. The next table, this is the result when they were asked if it is natural to have different varieties of English like Australian English, Singaporean English, and Philippine English. And the result shows that most of the respondents strongly agree that it is but natural to have different varieties of the English language. So this supports the findings of Bautista, who claimed that Philippine English is not only a legitimate but an institutionalized and standardized variety of English as well. She further added that no one can question the fact that Philippine English exists together with such varieties as Indian English, Nigerian English, and Singaporean English. These are all legitimate varieties of English, albeit new, and they are legitimate as the older varieties called British English, Canadian English, and of course Australian English. So the table 4 shows the result when the respondents were asked if Filipinos have the right to modify American English to make it suitable for the use in the Philippines. And as you can see, most of the respondents again agree to this statement, as Borlongan cited that Philippine English does follow American English undeniably, just like a child of its parent. But like a 15 typical child of any parent, it has a life of its own. So once this trait inherited from the parent, but likewise, it manifests traits resulting from developmental and contextual dynamics. In Table 5, it shows the result when they were asked if the variety of English that should be used in the Philippine newspaper should be educated Philippine English. And according to the result in this table, it is It clearly shows that more than 50% of the respondents agree to the positive statement about the Philippine English, that print media like newspapers should only be using the educated Philippine variety of English. This is because newspapers are circulated everywhere in the country and could be read by a lot of people, and because it can likely be read by many people, newspapers should therefore be careful and should use only the standard Philippine English and not those invented only by just anybody. So in table 6, it shows that more than half of the respondents agreed to the said positive statement regarding the Philippine English. Just like the print media, the broadcast media should also be careful and watchful of using the standard Philippine variety of English. So the following of this broadcast media is a huge that they should be responsible in making sure they will only give out the audience what is standard. As cited by Bautista, he defined the variety of Philippine English as the type of English that educated Filipinos speak and which is acceptable in educated Filipino circles. Speakers of this variety of English could be identified because their speech is intelligible to native speakers of English. So in table 7, it shows the respondents' attitude of the positive statement about the Philippine English. So you would see the different statements, statements there, and also with its standard deviation. Okay, so in this table, it can be gleaned that the teacher respondents agree to most of the positive statements about the Philippine English. Also, they strongly agree to the two statements given. This means that they support the Philippine English as one variety of the standard English. On the negative statement about the Philippine English, the respondents' answers and attitudes are shown in the next table, which is table 8 up to 13. So for table 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, these are statements that talk about Philippine English, specifically negative statements about the Philippine English. And in this table, which is table 8, it answers the statement Philippine English is actually mistakes made by people who speak poor English. Now, here in this table, it shows an overall result of strongly disagree. So this means that the English teachers of Al-kwarizmi International School do not agree that Philippine English is actually a mistake by people who speak poor English. So in this table, the table 9 presents the results of the given negative statement about the Philippine English, and it shows that overall the respondents strongly disagree that if we speak English, we will not be respected by other speakers of English. In table 10, it shows about the attitude of the respondents of the given negative statement about the Philippine English. And in general, they strongly disagree with the statement that if we use Philippine English, people from other countries will think that we are uneducated. Okay, so in table 11, it shows the attitude of respondents of the given negative statement regarding the Philippine English, which says that foreigners do not understand us if we talk to them in Philippine English. Results show that the English teachers of Al-kwarizmi International School strongly disagree to the perceptions that foreigners do not understand Filipinos if they talk to them using the Philippine English. And in the table 12, okay, this shows about the attitude of the respondents regarding the negative statement about the Philippine English, which says that spoken Philippine English will be international accepted only if it does not show traces of regional pronunciation. So right now, the world has accepted the fact that there is a standard English, but along this are other kinds of English spoken by people in these different countries. So these kinds of Englishes may not be standard, but these countries have accepted the varieties of English as also legitimate. As what Castro mentioned, that the concept world Englishes then emphasize the plus- plurici- pluricentricity of the language and its cross-cultural reincarnations. This conceptualization about the functions and 21 multi-identities of English therefore has become a loaded weapon for those who view the spread of the language exclusively in terms of the celebration of the Judeo-Christian mantras of the language, and that is the view that the global, international, and world presence of the language is essentially a victory of what is perceived as a monocultural Western medium, and that the language is the English using West weapon in the clash of civilization. In Table 13, this shows the respondent's attitude of the negative statements about the Philippine English statements. Okay, so you would see the result there. It can be seen that English teachers of Al-kwarizmi International School has negative attitude about the negative statements regarding the Philippine English. So they strongly disagree on three items and disagree on two items. This means that the teachers have high regard of Philippine English that they do not agree on any of the negative statements. All right, so this is table 14, and in this table, um, okay, so this table actually shows the attitude of the respondents toward the individual lexical items and phrasal expressions known as Felipinism. So these words and phrases are specific and are typical only in the Philippines. So as you can see from its results, okay, so you would see that the lexical item phrases rated as acceptable are fill up a form, I can't afford, green choke, okay. And then we also have aircon, CR, I'll go ahead, bed spacer, okay. We also have dormmate, rallyist, okay. Hold your line, okay. Lechon, I'll go ahead, bed spacer, okay. So many items that shows Filipinism. Okay, so from this table, okay, from this table we can say that um the lexical items and phrases that rated acceptable are fill up a form, I can't afford. We also have green choke, aircon, CR, I'll go ahead, bed spacer, dormmate, rallyist, hold your line, and for a while. On the other hand, from the table, previous table that you have seen, it shows there that the lexical items and phrases considered by the respondents as highly acceptable are watch your steps, comfort room, face towel, toilet humor, lechon from the Tagalog for the roast, suckling pig, and bedsheet. So here it is worth mentioning that most of these words and phrases are accepted and highly accepted by the respondents are also coined words which are already adapted in Philippine English. So the table also showed that other lexical items and phrases were held unacceptable by the respondents. So this means that the respondents believe that these certain items should not be considered and used in spoken modes. These are the items like open or close the light, it was so traffic, cope up with, taken care of, equipments, and salvage. So it can be observed that most of the phrases which use prepositions wrongly and non-standard terms were unacceptable by the English teachers. Although they had positive attitude with the Philippine variety of English, they were strict with incorrect and non-standard forms. So lastly, there were items that were rated by the respondents as neutral. Okay, this means that the teacher respondents have an impartial judgment about these items, so they feel that these words might be acceptable, but at the same time, these cannot be just simply be accepted. These words and phrases are in a family way, a research result to based from presidential candidate, student tree, and borchis, which is a borrowed word, borrowed from Tagalog word. Okay, so in, in conclusion for this study, based on the findings of this research, these are the following conclusions. So first is that generally the English teachers of Al-kwarizmi International School have positive attitude toward the Philippine English as a variety of the standard English. They agree on the positive statements and strongly disagree on the negative statements about the Philippine English. And the English teachers of Al-kwarizmi International School accepted most coined words which has been used and adapted in the Philippines. However, they're strict with non-standardisms on idioms or grammatical constructions that they have not accepted them. So these were also coined words which were evaluated as neutral by the there were also coined words which were evaluated as neutral by the respondents. So this study do have weaknesses, and the researcher is admitting that there are limitations. So I am now recommending in order for this study to become richer. So for future researchers, okay, the present study has a small sample size. So maybe a larger sample, at least comparable to Bautista study, can be done covering other schools on other group of respondents. And then second is that other forms of survey that will include an interview or focus group discussion can be made to the same respondents to validate the answers they've given to the survey questionnaire. And third one is that other aspects of the Philippine English as a variety of English could be studied. Findings would reveal many things about our own variety of English. And lastly, teachers, especially English teachers, make it a point to require their students to use the standard English, especially in writing. Although the Philippine English is an accepted variety of the English language, some of the Felipinism are still ungrammatical.